Welcome to Hauntline Studios, the place where the shadows call and the stories fight to be heard. Tonight, we're taking a call from someone who survived something no one should ever see.
Hello? Is this Hauntline Studios? My name is Hiroshi Takeda. I'm 27, from Osaka. I don't know who else to tell this to, but something happened to me. Something I can't explain. I never believed in ghosts or urban legends until the night I met the Teke Teke.
It was past 2 a.m., and I was walking home after a long shift at the convenience store. The streets of Osaka were quiet, almost empty, but the neon lights from shops and vending machines flickered weakly, casting pale reflections across the wet pavement. The air was cold, but not enough to make me shiver, at least not at first. I had my hands in my pockets, my jacket tight around me, thinking only about sleep. That's when I first heard it. A dragging sound. Slow, deliberate. Teke, teke, teke. I stopped mid-step. My stomach twisted. My head whipped toward the alley on my left. Nothing. Just shadows stretching like black water against the walls. I shook my head. It's probably just a cat or some drunk idiot, I told myself. I tried to laugh quietly, but the sound felt hollow in my chest. Then I remembered the story from school, the one we all whispered about and never wanted to admit we remembered. The girl who fell on the train tracks, cut in half, who came back crawling on her elbows, screaming for revenge. The Teke Teke. I froze. My heart thumped violently. This isn't real. Urban legends aren't real, I told myself. But the sound didn't stop. Closer now. The scraping echoed faintly off the walls, mirroring my steps, predicting me. I say now, maybe it was my imagination. Maybe it was a shadow, but I swear, every time I blinked, I saw movement in the corner of my eye. Black hair swinging, the top half of a girl crawling unnaturally. No legs, just elbows dragging her forward. I tried to run, but my legs felt like lead. Every step was a struggle, as if the air itself resisted me. I ducked behind a dumpster. My heart pounded so loudly I thought she'd hear it. And then, silence. For a moment, I dared to peek. Nothing. Relief washed over me. Then, a whisper. Soft, wet, almost a hiss. Hiroshi. Hiroshi. I spun around. Empty alley. Just the darkness. But my stomach knew better. I knew she was close. I ran. Every step. Teke, 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 following, scraping along the wet asphalt. I reached the main street, hoping the neon lights and occasional cars would make her hesitate, but the sound didn't falter. She adapted, learning my rhythm. I turned a corner and stumbled into a stairway leading to an old apartment building. I slammed the door shut behind me, my breaths loud in the silent hallway. I dared not look back. The sound had faded, but I knew she was still out there. Always out there. Even now, when I close my eyes, I hear it. Teke, teke, teke. And I know, if I ever walk alone again, she might follow me. After that first night, I thought I was safe. I stayed inside my apartment, doors locked, windows shut, lights on. I told myself it was over. She can't get in, she doesn't exist. But that was before the dreams began. The dreams were subtle at first. A flicker in my bedroom mirror, a shadow moving against the wall. I'd wake up thinking it was nothing, but the next day I felt uneasy, heavy, like someone had walked over my grave in my sleep. Then the second night came. I was walking home again, late because my manager called me in for extra shifts. I was tired, my eyes heavy. That's when I first heard it following me on the streets again. Teke, teke, teke.
I froze. My stomach knotted. It was faint, but unmistakable. My steps quickened. So did hers. I turned corners, zigzagged alleys, thinking maybe I could lose it, but the sound adapted, precise, synchronized with my heartbeat. Every scrape of elbows on concrete matched my pulse. I remember ducking behind a vending machine. I held my breath. The streetlights flickered above, casting short, violent shadows. For a moment, I thought I saw her crawling across the sidewalk, not the top half, but a shape, almost transparent, hair flying in the breeze like black ink. I tried to scream. My voice stuck in my throat. The whispers came again. Hiroshi, Hiroshi. Closer, waiting, patient. I stumbled into a stairwell. My apartment building. I slammed the door, my knuckles bleeding from the wood. I didn't look back. I didn't breathe for a long moment. Then I noticed it. Wet footprints, leading up the hallway. Not human. Elbows, scraping against the floor. That's when the hallucinations started. At first, subtle, shadows moving in unnatural angles, reflections in windows showing a crawling top half where no one stood. Puddles on the streets seemed to ripple as if something emerged, then vanished. I began to see her in unexpected places, in the corner of my kitchen, in the stairwell mirror, behind my bed, crouched on the ceiling. I'd blink, and she'd vanish, but I could feel her presence, watching, calculating. I stopped going out at night, stopped answering my phone. Every sound became her. A scraping floor, a gust of wind, the hum of fluorescent lights. I started to study the pattern. I realized she wasn't random. She was patient, intelligent, learning me, waiting until I was alone, vulnerable. The more I noticed her, the stronger her presence became. I tried recording the street, thinking maybe a camera would reveal her. The footage was useless, blank, only a faint smudge in the corner, like a shadow trying to form. One night, I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, lights on. I counted my heartbeat. Teke, Teke, Teke. Matched it, perfectly. I tried to convince myself it was coincidence, but deep down I knew it wasn't. The whispers grew bolder. Hiroshi, Hiroshi. Always when I was alone, always when I wasn't looking. The sound became part of the silence. My apartment felt like a trap. Even when I stepped outside for groceries, I could feel her watching from alleys I passed by. I realized I couldn't escape Osaka. She didn't chase me through streets. She followed attention, patience, anticipation. She only needed me to notice. Now, every time I walk home late, I move differently. I never take the same route twice. I avoid alleys. I avoid shadows. But I know she's learning still. Waiting. Patient. And someday, she will know every step I take. After the previous nights, I barely left my apartment. Food was delivered, lights stayed on. I tried to convince myself it was over. I told myself it was coincidence. But the truth was simpler and more terrifying. She didn't need to chase me anymore. She just existed in the spaces I paid attention to. The first signs of isolation weren't dramatic. Small things at first. A shadow that lingered too long. A reflection that didn't match my movements. Then my sleep started to unravel. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, convinced I heard scraping across the floor. But there was nothing there. Only shadows. Only silence. The dreams were worse. At first, just vague glimpses. Darkness. A crawling top half. Hair swirling like black ink. Then whispers. Hiroshi. Hiroshi. Always close.
always patient, not angry, not chaotic, just waiting. I stopped calling friends, stopped answering phone calls. Even texting felt risky. Every time I interacted with someone, I felt she was there, just beyond my perception, studying me through the empty spaces of the world. I remember one night vividly. I fell asleep sitting in my chair, lights on. When I woke, the room was different. Not in a structural sense, just wrong. Shadows leaned too far, corners stretched too long. My reflection in the small mirror across the room seemed off. Elbows instead of legs, hair wild, eyes hollow. I could feel her watching from the edge of reality, waiting for me to acknowledge her. I started recording my apartment, trying to capture any proof. Cameras, audio, motion detectors. Nothing. Blank footage, occasional flickers, occasionally a smudge of black in the corner. And then, the whispering. Always the whispering. Hiroshi. Hiroshi. I started questioning my own mind. Was I losing it? Was she in my imagination? But the dragging sound, even if quiet, was undeniable. It mirrored my heartbeat. I would lie awake in bed, counting my pulse, and Teke 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 would match it exactly. I stopped looking in mirrors, stopped opening windows. Even closing my eyes felt unsafe. At some point, I realized she wasn't just a ghost, not just a legend. She was a predator, and I had taught her how I moved, how I thought, what I feared. Every instinct she learned made her more precise. Every notice, every heartbeat, every flicker of attention fed her. I tried to distract myself. Television, music, radio. Nothing worked. Silence always brought her back. Shadows always leaned toward me. The faint dragging sound always matched my movements. By the end of that week, I didn't feel like I was in my own apartment anymore. The walls seemed closer, the lights dimmer. Every hallway felt like it could hide her. Every shadow promised a glimpse of her top half crawling just beyond vision. I barely slept. When I did, I woke drenched in sweat, feeling her close. Sometimes I'd hear a soft, wet tapping, like elbows scraping concrete on my floor. I'd hold my breath, wait. Nothing. And yet I knew it was there. "I'm telling you this," I whispered to the darkness, "because I need someone to understand. She's patient. She's silent. And she only needs you to notice. That's how she lives. That's how she hunts. And I noticed."
After the nights of chasing and hiding, I started noticing her in small, subtle ways. At first, I thought I was imagining it. A flicker in the corner of my eye, a shadow leaning too far, the sound of elbows scraping on concrete when there was nothing there. Mirrors became terrifying. Sometimes my reflection didn't move exactly as I did, just a little delay, or worse, her top half crawling behind me, smiling, hair swirling like black smoke. I stopped leaving the apartment entirely. Food delivery was the only way I survived. Even then, I refused to open the door fully. I just peeked through the peephole. Sometimes I thought I saw a shadow bending unnaturally behind the delivery person. The dreams were worse now, vivid, long, relentless. I dreamt of empty streets, flickering lights, the sound, Teke, Teke, Teke. I'd run through streets I knew, but somehow I never got anywhere. She always caught me, elbows scraping, hair in my face, whispering, "Hiroshi, Hiroshi." I woke up screaming, my throat sore, but she was there, waiting, patient, silent. I began trying to reason with myself. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. But deep down, I knew it was. She had learned me too well. She could anticipate my steps, my thoughts, my fears. Every time I blinked, she was there, or I thought she was. Even the lights weren't safe. Fluorescent bulbs flickered. Shadows stretched too long. The corners of my room seemed to bend toward me, creating spaces where she could hide. Puddles on the street looked like mirrors into another world where she waited, top half crawling, silently observing. I stopped using my phone, stopped looking at social media. Every notification felt like a lure. I started speaking to myself in whispers, repeating my heartbeat out loud to calm it. Teke, teke, teke. Matched it perfectly, even in the silence. One evening, I tried to face it. I set up cameras around the apartment, audio recorders and motion detectors. For hours, nothing, just the hum of the fridge, the buzz of the street below. And then, a movement, a shadow that didn't belong, a fleeting glimpse of elbows dragging, hair flying. I blinked, and it vanished. The whispers didn't stop. Hiroshi, Hiroshi. I felt watched constantly. Even when I closed my eyes, even when I tried to sleep, she was there, patient, waiting, watching the spaces between my thoughts. She had learned the patterns of my mind, my breathing, my attention. I couldn't escape, not inside my own head. I started to notice small changes in myself, paranoia, obsession. I walked differently, avoiding shadows. I avoided mirrors. I avoided silence. Every step outside felt calculated. Every glance over my shoulder was necessary. And yet, I couldn't stop noticing. I couldn't stop paying attention. That was her power. That was how she existed. She didn't need to chase me anymore. She only needed me to see her, to acknowledge her, to feel her presence. And I had done all three. I'm telling you this, I whispered to the darkness, because if you ever hear the sound, if you ever notice it, don't respond, don't blink, don't invite it. I failed. I noticed. And now she knows me. I couldn't take it anymore. Every step outside was panic. Every glance in a mirror was terror. Every heartbeat seemed to echo Teke, Teke, Teke in my head. I knew she was patient, but I couldn't live like this forever. So I planned. I gathered every lamp I could find, every piece of wood, every camera. I wanted to see her, capture her, maybe trap her. I wanted proof that she existed, maybe even hope I could banish her. That night, I left my apartment carefully. Every alley I passed felt alive. Shadows bent oddly, flickered too long, as if anticipating my moves. My heartbeat matched the rhythm I had come to know. Teke, teke, teke. I set up the first trap, a string of cameras in a zigzag along the hallway, trying to capture movement. Then a motion sensor. Then my phone, recording audio continuously. I waited. Minutes passed. Nothing. I thought maybe I had imagined it. Relief washed over me. Then came the sound. Soft, wet scraping. Hiroshi, Hiroshi. Closer than before. I could feel it in the air. My stomach twisted. My pulse thundered in my ears. I dared a glance around the corner of the hallway. There she was. Only the top half. Hair swinging wildly, elbows scraping the concrete like knives. Hollow eyes focused on me. The whispers continued, almost playful. Hiroshi, Hiroshi. I raised a lamp, trembling. I tried shouting. My voice sounded weak even to me. She didn't flinch. She didn't stop. Patient. Waiting. I realized then she didn't fear anything. I moved forward slowly, trying to follow, trying to force her into the cameras. Every step I took, she mirrored from the shadows. I tried to corner her, tried to shine light directly, but nothing. She didn't flee. She didn't attack. She simply studied. My fear grew. Not anger, not panic, but a cold, deep dread. I was trapped, not by walls, not by doors, but by attention, by noticing her, by giving her life. I tried barricading myself, but she appeared in reflections, in puddles, in the corner of my vision. Every hallway stretched, every shadow leaned toward me. I remember shouting into the darkness, "Go away! Leave me alone!" Her response, silence. Just movement. Closer. Teke, Teke, Teke. I realized then, confrontation was useless. She didn't respond to threats. She didn't care about traps. She existed in the attention I gave her. My very awareness was what allowed her to follow me, study me, haunt me. I tried hiding, tried running, tried ignoring her. None of it mattered. She had already won by being noticed, by being remembered, by being acknowledged. By the end of the night, I collapsed in the middle of my apartment. My hands shook, my breathing ragged. I knew I survived, but I also knew the truth. I couldn't fight her. I couldn't trap her. I couldn't escape her. She was patient. She was silent. And she only needed me to notice. Hiroshi, Hiroshi. Even now, I can hear it in the back of my mind, waiting for the next time I step into a shadow, the next time I blink, the next time I notice. After all those nights of running, hiding, hearing the scraping, I survived. Physically, at least. I thought I was safe in my apartment. I thought she had left. I thought maybe I had finally lost her. But something changed. Something subtle, almost imperceptible at first. I began feeling heavier. Not just tired, but weighted down. My shoulders ached constantly. My steps felt slower. My chest felt pressed, as if I was carrying a bag I couldn't see. I shrugged it off. Stress, lack of sleep, too much coffee. That had to be it. Days passed. Weeks. The whispers were gone, mostly. The scraping had stopped, at least in the way it had chased me before. But the weight never left. The fatigue never lifted. My body felt strange. I tried to ignore it, walked my normal routes, took the train to work. The city felt normal again. I almost believed I had survived. Almost. Until tonight. I was at the Shinsaibashi train station. The crowd pushed past me. People were moving too fast, their shadows stretching under the fluorescent lights. I felt the familiar press on my shoulders, the weight that had been there for weeks. Uncomfortable, constant, inexplicable. I shrugged again. Weird posture, bad luck with my bags, nothing serious. Then, I caught a reflection in the shiny panel on the opposite platform, and froze. I saw her. The Teke Teke, crawling, top half, black hair flying, hollow eyes fixed on me. And she wasn't in front of me, not across the platform. She was on me, on my shoulder. My body hadn't been tired from stress. My back hadn't been aching from posture. She had been there the whole time, crawling, clinging, unseen, weight pressing down on me for weeks. And I never noticed. The whispers returned. Close, wet, cold, right in my ear. Hiroshi, Hiroshi. I staggered backwards, heart racing, breath caught. People passed me by, oblivious. Only I could feel her, crawling, heavy, persistent. And then I realized I had been carrying her everywhere. Every step, every day, every blink, every notice I had given her had made her stronger, bolder, permanent. And now there was no escaping. She crawled, she whispered, she owned me. I tried to run, I tried to shake her off, but the weight remained. The press, the drag, the unseen claws of elbows on my shoulder, unrelenting. I am always with you, Hiroshi. Always. And for the first time, I understood. I had never walked alone.
If you love the slow burn of fear, the stories that creep under your skin, subscribe now. Don't fight the darkness. Let it follow you.